Don't be alarmed.
Welcome
to
science fiction. Things get better. Should I come out to say that things get better because of science fiction? No, that's not what I'm saying. But you're just in store for a wonderful exposure to many excellent stories, a few novels for those of you that choose to join that path.
But all that can wait. We will just proceed 1 week at a time in this class. And today, I would like to welcome you to the class, as I've tried to do. I've obviously trotted out some clips from previous videos that I've made for my online science fiction class here. And this time, I want to open up your work in science fiction by asking the question, what is science fiction? And let's turn to one of the 20th century's greatest promoters of science fiction. The next photo that you'll see will be of Rod Serling, the founder, creator of The Twilight Zone. And here's what he says. Fantasy is the impossible made probable. Science fiction is the improbable made possible. So let's unpack that for just a second. And before we unpack that, I think now is a good time, since this is our very first time meeting one another, for me to digress from the script just a little bit and mention that, yes, there are quizzes and tests and the midterm and all kinds of things. And so one of the ways that I assess and make sure that folks have watched the videos is that I grab a section. It's usually very obvious, like that quote. And I hate to play the Who Said It game. I'm not playing the Who Said It game because Rod Serling is so amazingly important, which he is. He is, actually. I never liked the quote game at me, and I'm an English major, and they did it all the time. So I just didn't like it. I probably wasn't the greatest student. That's true. However, I just need to let you know that when I hit like a definition, a concept, there's going to be moments, especially in your readings. So you're going to want to know, so you're going to, it's a way that I have of assessing the reading. So you'll want to know which character in a book would, held this position. I try to make them, I don't hit you with a quote, who said that, but whose position was, kind of broader questions that should, if you fall, I'm fair. I am very fair. Anyway, let me go back to what I was talking about, and you'll forgive me because I'm going to read down here. Fantasy is the impossible made probable. Science fiction is the improbable made possible. Let us not worry at this moment so much about fantasy. We all know that fantasy's power and what makes it so interesting is that it relies primarily on magic and, impossible things, so far as we know. Now, science fiction has the benefit. So science fiction is the improbable made possible. So possible. Why? I'm pausing. And of course, you know that it's technology. Arthur C. Clarke said, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So, science fiction is the improbable made possible. And that is via technology. So, these are the two distinguishing features between fantasy and science fiction, is that the action in fantasy is explained by magic. At the core of some of what's happening in science fiction lies technology. And really, though, technology is a setting in this kind of fiction that allows science fiction to ask questions. And I don't want to imply that science fiction is the only type of literature that challenges us by asking really hard questions. In fact, I think that all um, literature challenges us by asking really hard questions. Science fiction seems to do it very frequently. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley is a great example for us to talk about these pieces of science fiction and how they ask questions. Of course, it's science fiction because at its heart is this great technological advance that the Dr. Frankenstein has discovered with a great deal of equipment and the connection with electricity. So that pops it firmly in the genre of science fiction. Many people consider this book to be the first. The first. And how wonderful that is that that's a woman writer. Women were historically marginalized as writers for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so how wonderful is that? That this book that almost everybody agrees is, if not the first, one of the very first. And so interestingly, what is the question that this book brings up? And it's a question that we explore over and over and over again. Who gets to be human? Who gets to be human? Clearly not the monster. Now, you and I are not reading this together. I will be dropping the names and covers of books during my weekly chit-chats with you, and I hope that you guys will read them. I hope you read all of the ones that have to do with who gets to be human, who gets to be treated with dignity, who gets to be a full, autonomous participant in a democracy or in a society or in our lives.
All we need to do is identify the participants and understand their goals. We're safe. We're safe. We have to believe we're safe. Don't panic. Don't panic. We're about to pull the curtain back. Science fiction is the most dangerous class you'll ever take. It's the gloves off exposure of not only what might be, but what is. And it teaches us how to keep los ojos abren, which means it teaches us how to keep our eyes open. This is the first video I'm making for this class, even though you've probably seen some sort of generic intro video that I've got. That's probably the same one that I use in the other classes. This class is special. This is the Ojos Abren class. Are you with me on that? Good. Now take a deep breath and follow. Hang on. When we want to succeed in this class, we're going to be engaged and we're going to be awakened to subtle details. I was just now, I captured a screenshot of some images because what we're going to be doing, one of the things that we'll first be working on is what AI thinks of us.
That's right. The first story that we are reading in this class is by a writer by the name of Terry Besson, and the story is called They're Made of Meat. And it has those two themes in it, those two questions: who gets to be human, or who gets to be equal participants in a society. That one, it has that, but then it also has this other great theme that science fiction often investigates, which is what happens when we lose control of technology. What happens? Well, basically, it's the singularity. Okay, so there's a point at which human beings can create technology that they can't control. There are subtle examples of that. We're not reading at this time, but in Frankenstein, off the top of our heads, we can probably think of 10 examples. So much science fiction has been read about that. And I think the the first place to look for, sadly, where our society is going to lose control of technologies in artificial intelligence. So that's sort of the exercise that we have planned later in the week. You'll see it below.
Science fiction has some people are saying that the history of science fiction goes all the way back to the Greeks. We're going to be getting into that. Most people agree that it was Mary Shelley with her Frankenstein that started all of this, that started this sort of phenomenal, visionary, almost prophetic kind of literature that examined the potentialities of science in our lives and the consequences. That's what we're looking at. What previous instructors of this class never had going for them until within the last 10 years, maybe even the last 5 years, is that the artificial intelligence has arrived. So our first big project into this class is, what does AI think of me? They're more intimate that way. This is a more special class to me, and you got to know that. You're going to have access to my phone number. You probably already got it. I did that in that generic video. But I want you to know that science fiction, it's the eye-opener. It's way bigger than just a lit class, because right now we're living it anyway. There I was, sort of tracking. I've been fascinated by, what does artificial intelligence think to me? What do the algorithms think about me? And so get this. So I snatch a screenshot. I'm pretty good with all their techno junk. You gotta be conversant with their technology, or they're gonna just bury us. Check it out. Here's my prophetic statement number 1. The URL bar will disappear. Search up URL bar. We don't have time. Just, if you don't know what it is, they've already won. And if I sound paranoid, trust me, I'm not. Hello, bosses. I hope you know what I'm doing. Because I will probably end up seeming a bit like kind of a conspiracy nut here. And I'm not. I'm a normal person with a house and a job. And we can all be normal people with a house and a job in this thing. But we've got to keep our eyes open. And that's one of the things that I love the most about science fiction. Anyway, there I was. I snatched that screenshot. I snatched 4 because the way that we get the picture of what artificial intelligence thinks about who we are is by noticing what they feed us in their advertising feeds. We all take this. This is the wallpaper now. And by wallpaper, I just mean we all take this for granted. Many of you have been seeing these ads and all this stuff for 10 years. So luckily, all these gray hairs, what they are, I'm a time traveler. Very slowly, one day at a time. But I've seen a different world. I've lived in a different world. I was raised in a different world. I embrace our new world. There's nobody in the class who knows more tech than I do. I've got Ubuntu boxes and Raspberry Pi, and I stay up with it. I'm not a programmer. So, yes, there are programmers among us. Anyway, stay focused. It's not just me, I promise. No, just kidding. Now, stay with me. I snatch these screenshots, and I've got a little folder on a drive where I'm going to put them, add them. They might not be in this video because it's getting a little long. But anyway, there it was. And then I had to edit them because the ads are so salacious. I'm like, oh gosh, do I want students to have to see that on the first day? Well, listen, we're all adults here. Also, we're all adults here. We're going to be seeing some stuff, okay? I'm sorry. I hope that we can keep an open mind. And we have to look at what they're feeding us. We have to look at, anyways, like the culture of porn. You know what I mean? Like, where was that? That was not a thing when I was a kid. I'm not a Victorian, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this advertisement, I had to black something out of it because ew. And, but I just wanted to show you, this is who they think I am. And they're wrong. But different story, different day. Now, stay with me. Snatch it. My machine gives me a little click, like, hey, screenshot. And then I download it, and I notice it downloads as a PNG. I'm like, that's cool. So now I'm going to upload it to my iServer. And anyway, my iServer is controlled by, one of the top five companies in the world. They're very convenient, and I pay money to have them make my life convenient. And that's what we do is we trade our money and our privacy for convenience. And that's the new game, but it's more than that because we're also trading many other features that we would like perhaps to be in control of anyway. I go to do that and they're like, so the iServer is, no, we're not going to take your PNG. So I'm like, oh, okay. You're not going to take my PNG. So I have an application that I can open, likely from another of the top 5. I can't, let's do that later. But anyway, so I bring it up, I say, oh yeah, I should probably edit that anyway, because gross. And so I add a layer, put in some black with the bucket. You see, I follow this stuff. And then I go to save it as a JPG, because JPEG, because that's what that online server is used to taking. And the application says, oh, shucks, Rise, did you forget? Oh, man. Anyway, it gave me this message that the standard format is PNG. Are you sure you want to use the JPG? So these two companies are at war with one another. They want to move the standard file image format to PNG, which is happening. Meanwhile, my, totally dominant international server that takes images will only take JPEGs. So that was a skirmish, and I thought, oh man, let's just make this class begin, because that's a skirmish. And that's a subtle manifestation of the skirmish. That one company's telling us that the standard is PNG, another one won't take PNG. These are the kinds of details that would show up in science fiction to highlight things. Now, we're going to look at so much, but I just want you to know that a lot of the tropes and themes in science fiction, they're bouncing around us all the time. So literally, this class is happening inside the class.
And this class is happening outside the class. The themes of who gets to be human, the themes of the possible losing control of technology, of the consequences of our technological advance, the way that we have treated our planet, the devastating effects of a single species, us, on the ecology of our planet right now.
There's so much for us to talk about. The multiverse, artificial intelligence, the singularity. It's all happening. Don't worry. I'm not actually like a paranoid person. I'm not. I just love this, though. I love keeping my eyes open. I love seeing it happen in front of my face, the great JPEG PNG battle. You know what? I was thinking that I'm not going to name these companies, but we gotta know. So the big 5 are Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, Google, and Apple.
It should be obvious to everybody here that I am shooting this for this class after the other appearances of me were shot for earlier classes. Whatever, this shirt is real time. just to say, it's real time until I do it again. But this is the realest time that there is, and I have to share with you. And I came to be normal tonight because I remembered that I was off the rails a little bit. I kind of like it, though. I've been watching it. I've been editing with it. I enjoy talking to past me, who is seems a little unhinged. And now, this current me, I'm the time traveler, I told you. We're all time travelers, one day at a time. I respect your time, but here we are. There's a section of black that I'm leaving in the video. You should wonder, like, why is that black? Chris hasn't left any black. He'd fill something with a still. I would. I'm not going to fill that black with a still. You want to know why? How do I have this video? I have this video because I had loaded it up to YouTube where you guys watch it. I'm sorry that the corporations will force you to watch an ad for the privilege of me being able to do that, to get it to you easily. But it lived up there. My video lived. and YouTube under the I don't know, the ownership of Google, because Google owns YouTube. And for me to create this video is going to add some new content, talk to you, welcome you. That's what I want to do today. I'm just talking a little bit about science fiction, and we're in a class together. It's exciting. And I downloaded that video because that was the only video I have. I don't, like who has the ability to store stuff? I have still like this drive, but I could not figure out which file it was that I had created. So YouTube has the most recent version of this particular discussion, week 1 science fiction, and so I download it, and I'm watching it, and I'm adding to it, and I've added a good deal, I think. I hope you're liking it. Then I get to here, and I can hear my audio saying, here's the big 5. Now I can't, I was reading them. The big 5. Amazon, Apple, Google, I think Facebook, one other one. I don't have the picture. Do you want to know what? They scrubbed my video. They scrubbed the image out of my video. They didn't send me an email. They didn't give me one of those like copyright warnings. They did not like that I had an image in there that had all 5 of their logos. And instead of like, I have no idea if like it was artificial intelligence that managed to make all that and then scrub the image or what. But that image is gone. I did not include it. I suppose if I did it again, they'll just scrub it again anyway. But these are the kinds, like we're at a very nuanced moment here as we look at science fiction because we're right on the lip. We really are. And we're made of meat. That's a reference to a story that you haven't read yet. So I'm actually kind of curious to see what I see. Let's go back. Let's go back to older me. Let's see. Or actually, it's younger me. Anyway, let's go back. It would be too impossible. But anyway, that's the battle between Adobe and Apple. Okay, and also I have to confess I'm doing this on, it's like I don't want to do product placement, so I'm definitely not doing that. I'm just going to point out the battles. But, and again, the only product placement I will do is open source. I will do Linux and Ubuntu. I will do all of that stuff because that's what we got to get back to. But for speed and ease and like, oh my gosh, I get to record this on my phone. That's good. By the way, and this means a lot to me that that I can create these on my phone. I don't create the rest of the videos on my phone, the ones for other classes. I want this class to be different. I want you to come to this class with a more open mind than you might. I don't know who you are, and you're going to let me know slowly. But the first thing you're actually going to do is let me know who artificial intelligence thinks you are.